today is about death and what the church tells us about death. Thank you, that's the clock on the computer behind me. I've listened to many church people, church ministers, church denominations talk to me about death and their version of death and what they believe death is, and yet there is never any consistency in what they say. Some say that when you're dead, that's it, the end, the finish, no more. That's why I title this talk with the Jimmy Morrison and the Doors song, The End, my friend. Others say you go up into the cloud, you become an angel and all fluffy, stuffy and all that, and of course there's always hell, or hell is what you make it on earth or whatnot. There's always a opposing opinions, there is always conflicting opinions, and some say there is no heaven and there's no hell. Heaven will be paradise conditions on earth. So amid all this conflict, I've thrown the whole lot out. The church just tells you lies about death because they don't know. They are only coming from their denominational viewpoint that's been programmed into them, so that they live in that prison, within that religion, within their mind, within their spirit. They don't know anything about death, but yet I experienced it as a young fella. And I began to really look into things and examine things. So in this first part of The Death of Death, you like that title? The Death of Death. I'll share with you what I experienced as a 10-year-old boy. Then in all subsequent parts I will continue to build onto it and share with you what I have learned and experienced. Believe me, a lot of it flies in the face of this man-made religion. When I was 10 years old, I had an accident. And I was falling to my death. There was no way known I would have survived the fall. But during the fall I knew, well, this is it. This is the end, my friend. You know, this is it. I'm gone. And this happened in the kitchen of the house. Now, as I was falling, I found myself no longer in the kitchen, no longer in my body, so to speak, but my consciousness, me as I am myself, within myself, was in the lounge room of the house. I immediately became that. And I realised that I left my body upon the acceptance of death, and not when death had actually occurred, but on the absolute acceptance of death. I left my body. I was in the lounge room, the living room. First thing I noticed was colours were different. Colours seemed to be more alive, more vibrant. Then I thought, okay, well, this is it. I'm dead. Where are all these angels that my Sunday school teacher told me would come and get me? As I looked up to the ceiling of the house, I was able to see through the ceiling, although I went through the ceiling, I don't know. It's not really the issue. But I did indeed begin to see these angelic figures coming out of the sky. But the problem was, they looked like statues. They looked like something that had been propped up so that I would understand what was happening. And yet it was not a reality. And the moment I began to perceive that this is not a reality, I found myself, of all places, in a church building. I was hovering, or sort of like being held in front of the pulpit, and there's this preacher with his arms raised, preaching away like they do. And a voice said to me, from within me and around me, said, Terry, he knew my name, Terry, this is not exactly as it was taught. This is not right. And of course this was a devastating thing for me to hear, because I went to Sunday school when I felt like it. I basically believed what I was told. Now here I am being shown that it's not true. I thought, oh my God, there's no God. That was a silly thing to say, you know, when on hindsight, in the situation that I was in. The Lord said to me, no. They have been given the truth, they have known the truth, but they have rejected that truth and taken the truth in a direction other than what was intended by God. That reminded me of actually a verse of scripture. You know, with their hearts, with their mouths they worship me, or with their lips they worship me, but their hearts are far from me. You know, it's all a power thing. And it began to be, it was shown to me that the seed was given to men of old, but in the last 1500 years, so to speak, the last 1900 years, they have taken the truth, put it aside, and instituted it with their own traditions and their own teachings. Again, that I find that written in the Bible. You know, that you have changed the commandments of God and placed the traditions of men. And this was really devastating to me. But then I was taken away. I was taken away from this dimension, from this world, whatever you want to call it, because I'm going to be talking about multiverses later on, or different dimensions, which I learned about. So then I found myself in this other place, this other dimension, this other world, which either we can refer to. But it was like a place of learning. It was a beautiful garden, and in this garden setting I clearly saw large dome-shaped buildings. They looked like the places where you go to learn, or I don't know what, but I was in this large garden area, and in this garden area there were little groups of people all sitting in groups in diverse areas all over the place, and they were like learning, studying, and just being taught. Then I noticed off to my right another group of people whom I will refer to as elders. They were sitting in a circle on the grass. They beckoned to me. I didn't hear with my ears, but I heard them in my spirit, in my mind, so to speak. They beckoned me over to them, and they said to me, Terry, see, they knew my name, now you can stay where you are, right here, or you can go back to the world. You can go back and you can tell people of my experiences, of what I've seen. And I thought, well, why should I? You know, this looks like a real cool place. I'm happy here. They said, well, that's your choice. So I began to walk away. But as I began to walk away, I began to feel real guilty. Really, a real feeling of guilt came over me. So I turned round, I came back to them and I said, yeah, I might as well go back. I suppose you want me to tell them all this? They said, yes. It is a job to bring the truth back to the world. There are many, many people who have come to this place and whom we have returned. And I said, okay, I'll go